What if I told you that no one is coming to save you? Not your friends, not your family, not even the perfect opportunity you've been waiting for. The day your life truly begins is the day you stop waiting for permission and start depending on yourself. Think about it. Every time you hesitate, every time you wait for applause or encouragement, you hand over control of your destiny to someone else. And the truth is, most people will be too busy with their own struggles to carry you. The universe does not reward hesitation. It rewards self-reliance. Success belongs to the person who decides, I will move forward even if no one notices, even if no one approves, even if fear screams at me to stop. This is where real freedom begins. This is the law of self-dependence. And once you master it, nothing, no silence, no criticism, no struggle can ever hold you back again. Look around you. How many people are sitting on dreams they never started? How many have ideas that could change their lives? Yet they keep telling themselves, I'll begin tomorrow. I'll wait until someone supports me. I'll act when the timing is right. Here's the brutal truth. Tomorrow never comes. The perfect time does not exist, and if you keep waiting for someone else to give you permission, you may spend your entire life watching opportunities slip away. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, intelligence, or ambition. They fail because they wait. They wait for applause before they move. They wait for motivation before they act. They wait for someone to push them, forgetting that no one else can live their life for them. The danger of permission. Think of it this way. If you only move when someone claps for you, what happens when there is silence? You stop, and that's the problem. Silence is guaranteed. Your friends, family, or mentors may encourage you sometimes, but they cannot be there every day to light the fire for you. Life is too busy. People are too occupied with their own struggles. If you want to build something great, you must learn to light that fire yourself. Napoleon Hill once said that the starting point of all achievement is desire, but desire without action is nothing more than daydreaming, and waiting for someone to give you the green light is the quickest way to kill that desire. Lost years of waiting. Let me ask you a tough question. How many years of your life have already been lost to waiting? Waiting for someone to support your dream, waiting for the right mood before starting a new habit, waiting for right mood before starting a new habit, the economy to improve, or for fear to fade away. Meanwhile, the clock keeps ticking. Time does not pause for hesitation. Every day you wait. Someone else less talented, less skilled, but more decisive is moving forward, claiming the opportunities that could have been yours. Imagine where you would be right now if you had taken action on your ideas 5 years ago instead of hesitating. That thought alone should wake you up. Small acts of self-direction. So, how do you break free from this cycle of waiting? You start with small but deliberate acts of self-direction. Every morning, ask yourself, what action will I take today that does not depend on anyone reminding me, motivating me, or pushing me? It doesn't have to be grand. It could be exercising for 15 minutes, reading a chapter of a book, sending that email you've been avoiding, or cleaning your workspace. The action itself is less important than the principle you did it because you decided to, without waiting for anyone else. Every time you complete one of these actions, you strengthen a critical muscle, the muscle of self-reliance. You begin proving to yourself that you can move without applause, that you can take initiative without permission, and that proof compounds over time. Two types of people. There are really only two kinds of people in this world. The first wakes up in the morning, feels tired, and says, "I'll wait until I feel motivated." They linger, they delay, and they go back to the comfort of excuses. The second wakes up, feels tired just like everyone else, but says, "No matter how I feel, I'll get up and do what I promised myself." Which one do you think achieves more? Life always rewards the second. Not because they are smarter, not because they are luckier, but because they act without waiting, building trust with yourself. At the heart of this lesson is self-trust. When you tell yourself, "I will do it," and then fail to follow through, your mind learns that your words mean nothing. But when you say, "I will do it," and you act again and again, you build inner credibility. That credibility is worth more than any applause. It becomes the foundation of real confidence. Because you know you can count on yourself. You stop needing validation from others because you've already proven your reliability to the one person who matters most, you. Fear grows when you wait. One of the biggest reasons people hesitate is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of making the wrong move. But here's the paradox. Fear grows stronger when you wait. The longer you hesitate, the more intimidating the action becomes. The only cure for fear is movement. The moment you take the first step, fear begins to shrink. You realize that most of what you worried about wasn't real. And even if you stumble, failure becomes a teacher instead of an enemy, a challenge for you. Here's your challenge for the next 7 days. Choose one thing each day that you will do entirely on your own initiative. Don't tell anyone. Don't wait for motivation. Don't ask for approval. Just do it. At the end of those 7 days, you'll feel a powerful shift. You'll feel stronger, more in control, more alive. That's the taste of true independence. There is a voice inside you that already knows the right path. It's the quiet, steady whisper of your judgment. But most people never move forward in life because they let another voice dominate the voice of fear. Fear doesn't just whisper, it shouts. It tells you you're not ready. You might fail. People will laugh. You could lose everything. And so, instead of acting, you freeze, you hesitate, you let the noise of fear drown out your own clarity. Fear is not the truth. Here's a critical truth. Fear is not reality. It's only noise. Yes, fear feels real. Your heart races. Your palms sweat. Your stomach tightens. Your body reacts as if danger is near. But in most cases, there is no danger, only uncertainty. If you mistake that uncertainty for truth, you'll never act. You'll remain stuck, always wondering, what if? Always letting opportunities pass by while fear keeps you paralyzed. Trusting your own judgment is the antidote. It's the skill that separates those who grow from those who stay frozen. The price of ignoring yourself. Every decision in life comes with consequences. Here's the question. Whose consequences are you willing to live with? If you ignore your own judgment and follow someone else's advice instead, and it fails, you are the one who pays the price, not them. You wake up with regret. You carry the burden. But if you follow your own judgment and it doesn't work out, you still gain something, priceless wisdom. You learn. You adjust. You grow stronger. In both cases, you pay the price, but only when you trust yourself do you get the return on that investment. Ignoring yourself doesn't just cost opportunities, it costs your identity. Over time, you stop recognizing your own voice. You lose confidence in your ability to decide. That is the silent tragedy of never trusting yourself. Confidence through action. Building self-trust doesn't mean you'll always be right. It means you are willing to act and learn instead of waiting forever. Every time you follow your own reasoning and act, even when fear screams at you, you strengthen your confidence. Think of it like a muscle. The first time you use it, it feels shaky. You second-guess yourself, but the more you use it, the stronger it grows. Soon, your judgment becomes the voice you hear loudest, not fear. Confidence is not built in theory. It is built in action. Each small decision followed through on creates proof that your judgment can be trusted, handling other people's doubts. Let's be honest, sometimes the loudest fears don't even come from inside you. They come from people around you, family, friends, colleagues. They may doubt your decisions, question your path, or remind you of the risks. And here's the irony. Sometimes they do it because they care. They want to protect you from disappointment. But if you let their doubts silence your voice, you'll never live your own life. You'll end up living their version of safety, not your version of destiny. Trusting your judgment doesn't mean rejecting advice. It means listening, considering, and then making the final call yourself, because at the end of the day, no one else has to live with the results of your choices but you. Fear versus growth. Picture two doors in front of you. One leads to growth, the other to regret. Fear stands at both doors, telling you not to open either one. If you listen to fear, you stand frozen and nothing changes. But if you trust yourself, you open a door and walk through even without certainty of what's on the other side. That step forward, that movement, is what separates the achievers from the dreamers. You may not always get it right, but you'll always grow. The people who trust themselves may stumble, but they always move. The people who never trust themselves stay exactly where they are safe, maybe, but stuck. The illusion of perfection. One of the greatest traps that fuels fear is the obsession with perfection. People tell themselves, I'll act when I'm 100% sure. I'll act when there's zero risk. I'll act when I know it will work. That moment never comes. Life is uncertainty. Waiting for perfection is another disguise of fear. Trusting yourself means accepting that you don't need all the answers before you start. You just need enough clarity to take the next step. The path unfolds only when you walk it. A practical exercise. Here's a simple exercise to train this skill. Start by making small decisions without consulting anyone. What to eat? What book to read? What task to do first? Follow through. Then, apply it to bigger decisions. Career moves, financial choices, personal goals. Listen to your reasoning. Write it down. Weigh the options. And then commit. Every time you act on your judgment, you send yourself a powerful message. I can trust me. Over time, that trust becomes confidence, and that confidence becomes independence, turning fear into proof. The next time fear rises inside you, reframe it. Instead of seeing fear as a warning, see it as proof that the decision matters. Fear shows up when you're stepping into growth, not when you're wasting time. So don't run from fear. Use it as a compass. Let it remind you that you are moving towards something important, then trust your judgment to carry you through. Remember, fear will never leave completely, but it doesn't have to. Your goal is not to silence fear, but to make your own voice louder. The more you trust your judgment, the more you realize that fear is only background noise. It can scream, but it cannot control you unless you let it. The winners in life are not the ones without fear. They are the ones who choose their own judgment despite fear. That choice made daily is what separates the independent from the dependent, the successful from the stagnant. There will come a time in your life when you look around and realize no one is standing up for you. No one is defending your decisions. No one is protecting your reputation. And no one is fighting for your worth. Those are the moments that reveal who you really are. It's easy to feel confident when you have people cheering for you. It's easy to hold your ground when a crowd agrees with you. But when the voices go silent, when the people closest to you don't understand, when critics outnumber supporters, that's when your strength is tested. That's when you discover whether you can truly depend on yourself, approval or respect. Too many people trade respect for approval. They stay quiet when they should speak up. They swallow their truth because they don't want to be judged, criticized, or rejected. But here's the truth. Every time you stay silent when you should defend yourself, you send yourself a dangerous message. I am not worth protecting. Over time, that message eats away at your confidence. It chips away at your identity. And slowly, you begin to believe that you don't deserve respect. You cannot build strength by hiding. You cannot build self-respect by surrendering your voice. If you want to depend on yourself, you must be willing to stand tall, even if no one else stands with you. Why people stay silent? Think of the times you felt wronged but didn't say anything. Maybe a colleague dismissed your idea at work. Maybe a friend insulted you in front of others. Maybe someone tried to take credit for your effort. You felt the tightness in your chest, the anger boiling inside, but you said nothing. Why? Because silence felt easier in the moment, but later, that silence turned into regret. You replayed the situation in your mind, wishing you had spoken up. That regret is your spirit reminding you that you betrayed yourself. Self-dependence demands that you break this pattern. Calm, not rage now. Standing up for yourself doesn't mean fighting with anger. It doesn't mean screaming louder than everyone else. In fact, true strength is calm. When you stand firm with steady composure, your voice carries more weight than 1,000 shouts. Calm strength communicates certainty. It tells the world, I know my worth, and I won't let it be ignored. Arrogance pushes people away. Calm self-respect commands their attention. Boundaries define you. Another key to defending yourself is clarity. If you are vague about your values, you will hesitate when tested. That hesitation will keep you silent. But when you know your principles, your boundaries, your non-negotiables, you can recognize immediately when someone crosses the line. And in that moment, you know it is your responsibility to respond not with rage, but with clarity. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are standards that teach people how to treat you. If you don't enforce them, others will assume they don't exist. Disappointment will come. Sometimes the hardest part of standing up for yourself is realizing that people you expected to defend you, friends, family, colleagues remain silent. That silence can hurt more than the criticism itself. But here's what you must understand. Their silence does not define your value. Their silence is their choice, not evidence of your worthlessness. In those moments, your choice matters most. Will you allow their silence to shrink you, or will you rise and defend yourself anyway? That decision will shape your confidence for years to come. Protecting more than just you standing tall is not just about defending your reputation, it's also about protecting your vision, your goals, your dreams, to your future. They will often be misunderstood. People may doubt them. They may laugh. They may call them unrealistic. If you let their voices drown out yours, your vision will die before it ever has a chance to live. Depending on yourself means guarding your dream with the same strength you guard your dignity. The world may not believe in you at first, but that's not their job. It's yours, a practical way forward. So how do you build this kind of self-reliance? Start small. The next time someone dismisses your idea unfairly, calmly restate it with confidence. If someone crosses a boundary, name it clearly and without apology. If someone disrespects your efforts, stand firm and remind them of your value through action, not just words. Each time you do this, you send yourself a powerful message: I am worth defending. And over time, that message rewires your identity. You begin to carry yourself differently, shoulders straighter, voice steadier, presence stronger. People notice. They begin to realize you are not someone to be pushed around. The unshakable core life will test you again and again. Critics will doubt you. Strangers may misunderstand you. Even loved ones may fail to stand by you. But if you learn to stand tall when no one else does, you'll never again feel powerless. You will carry within you an unshakable core that no silence, no criticism, no rejection can destroy. Because in those moments when the crowd disappears, when encouragement is absent, when defense is nowhere to be found, you will know that you are enough. You will know that your voice, your conviction, your self-respect are all the defense you need. And that is when you stop depending on others to protect you. That is when you discover the true strength of depending on yourself. Remember, respect is worth more than temporary approval. Speak with clarity, stand with dignity, and defend your worth, because if you don't, no one else will. Everybody craves stability, financial stability, emotional stability, health stability, and stability in relationships. But very few ever build it. Why? Because real stability doesn't come from comfort, quick fixes, or lucky breaks. It comes from the lonely, consistent grind that no one applauds and no one even notices. It's easy to show up when a crowd is cheering. It's easy to stay disciplined when you have a partner, a coach, or a boss pushing you. But what happens when no one is watching? What happens when it's just you, alone, facing the weight of responsibility? That's when you discover whether you can truly depend on yourself. The illusion of support. Many people confuse support with stability. They think, I'll be disciplined if my friend goes to the gym with me. I'll stay on track if my partner reminds me. I'll keep working hard if my boss is watching. But here's the truth. If your progress collapses the moment the support disappears, you never built stability. You built dependency. Support is helpful, but it is temporary. People are not always available. Life shifts. Circumstances change. And if your growth relies on someone else holding you accountable, then your foundation is fragile. Real stability is built when you can carry the weight yourself, day after day, without applause and without reminders. The lonely grind hard work has a side that isn't glamorous. It's not the highlight reels you see on social media. It's the early mornings when no one is awake. It's the late nights when no one is watching. It's the repetitive, boring, unexciting grind that doesn't get likes or recognition. But that is exactly why it creates stability, because when you train yourself to keep going in the absence of applause, you build habits that nothing can shake. You stop being a slave to motivation. You stop needing external validation. You prove to yourself that you can stay disciplined even in silence. Think about it. The strongest foundations in life are built in the dark. Athletes prepare in empty gyms. Writers type away in quiet rooms. Entrepreneurs grind long hours with no guarantee of success. No one sees that side, but it's what creates results that last. Stability in every area. Take a look at your life. Where do you crave stability? In your finances, stability doesn't come from wishing. It comes from budgeting, saving, and investing consistently, even when it feels boring. In your health, stability isn't built by fad diets or random bursts of exercise. It's built by showing up for the workout, choosing discipline over junk food, and repeating that daily. In your relationships, stability doesn't come from romance alone. It comes from patience, respect, and consistent effort, even when it's not exciting. In your career, stability doesn't come from luck. It comes from learning, improving, and producing results that speak for themselves even when no one praises you. Every form of stability is rooted in effort that often feels lonely. Your true character. Doing the hard work alone reveals who you really are. When no one is watching, do you still give your best when no one will know? Do you still follow through? The answers to those questions define your character, and your character shapes your destiny. If you cut corners when you're alone, life will expose it when the pressure rises. But if you stay disciplined in silence, that strength will carry you in public. The difference between mediocrity and greatness is decided in those private moments where you choose either the easy way out or the disciplined path forward. The gift of independence. When you learn to do the hard work alone, you gain a priceless gift: independence. You no longer depend on motivation, support, or perfect conditions. You know you can rely on yourself. And here's the beauty of that. Independence breeds peace. When circumstances shift, when people leave, when recognition fades, you keep moving. You're not shaken by the ups and downs because your stability doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. That kind of strength is unbreakable. A practical path to stability. So how do you build it? 1, choose one area of your life where you need stability. Most, write it down. 2, identify the hard, boring, consistent work. It requires saving a fixed amount, doing your workout, writing daily, making those calls. 3, commit to doing it alone. Don't broadcast it. Don't wait for motivation. Just execute. 4, track your consistency. Each day you follow through is a brick in your foundation. In 6 months, in 1 year, in 5 years, you'll look back and realize you built something solid with your own 2 hands. The peace that comes. There is a deep peace that comes from knowing you can depend on yourself. You stop fearing uncertainty because you know you can handle it. You stop chasing shortcuts because you've tasted the reward of persistence. You stop worrying about being alone because you know you can carry the weight when necessary. That peace is priceless. And it is only earned by doing the hard work consistently, silently, faithfully, when no one is watching. Remember, this stability is not given, it is built. and it is built in the lonely hours where you choose discipline over comfort, progress over excuses, and self-reliance over dependency. If you can master that, you will create a foundation in life that nothing, not failure, not rejection, not silence can ever shake. The truest test of character is not how you act when the spotlight is on you. It's how you behave when the room is empty, when no one is clapping, when no one will ever know whether you kept your promise or not. Most people can appear disciplined when the crowd is watching. They can speak about principles and values when it gains them respect. But the real question is, who are you when the door closes? When the pressure of performance disappears, and it's only you, your choices, and your conscience. That is where real self-dependence is measured. The silent betrayal. Each time you cut corners in private, you may think you're getting away with it. No one saw you skip the workout. No one noticed you spent the money you promised to save. No one knew you gave less effort than you said you would. But the truth is, you knew, and that silent betrayal is not harmless. It sends a message to your own mind: my words don't matter. My promises don't mean much. Over time, this erodes self-respect, and once your self-respect weakens, it doesn't matter how confident you look on the outside, inside, you feel fragile. You cannot depend on yourself if you don't trust yourself. And you cannot trust yourself if you lie to yourself when no one is looking. Integrity is a muscle. Honesty is not about perfection. It's about refusing to betray your own standards. And like every habit, it grows with repetition. Each time you do what you said you would do, even in silence, you build inner strength. Each time you hold yourself accountable without needing recognition, you build integrity. Over time, integrity becomes like a muscle. It grows stronger with practice, weaker with neglect. This is why staying honest in private matters more than the applause you receive in public. Because applause fades, but integrity, once strengthened, become permanent. The hidden cost of dishonesty shortcuts always feels safe in the moment. You tell yourself, it doesn't matter. Nobody will know. But dishonesty never stays hidden. It shows up later in your results, in your confidence, in your character. Skip the study session in silence. The weakness shows when the exam comes. Spend recklessly in secret. The instability appears when the bills arrive. Lie to yourself about being disciplined. The gap reveals itself when responsibility gets heavier. The world eventually exposes what you choose to hide from yourself. Building private integrity. So how do you build the discipline to stay honest when nobody is watching one? Keep micro promises. Start with the smallest commitments. If you tell yourself you'll read 10 pages, read them. If you promise to save $5, save it. These small victories stack into confidence. 2, create private accountability. Write down your goals somewhere visible. Review them daily. Let your future self become the witness you answer to. 3, run the camera test. Ask yourself, if the world saw how I act right now, would I be proud? If the answer is no, you already know what to do. 4, daily reflection. At the end of the day, ask, did I keep my promises today? Did I betray myself in silence? Awareness is the first step to correction. Honesty builds freedom. There's a kind of heavy burden people carry when they live dishonestly. They fear being found out. They feel guilty in silence. They wonder if they're good enough. But when you practice honesty, even in the smallest details, something shifts. You begin to feel light, free, confident. You walk differently because you know you're not pretending. You're not performing. You're living in alignment, in both public and private. And that kind of freedom cannot be bought. The ripple effect. Staying honest in silence doesn't just change you, it changes how people see you. People can sense authenticity. They may not see your private choices, but they feel your consistency in the way you speak, the way you hold yourself, the way you follow through. This is why true leadership always begins with private integrity. You cannot expect others to respect you if you don't respect yourself behind closed doors. The challenge of invisible effort. One of the hardest parts of private honesty is that there's no immediate reward. Nobody congratulates you for going to bed on time, for saving a little money, or for keeping to your workout plan. But here's the truth. The invisible effort compounds. Today's unseen discipline becomes tomorrow's visible results. The world may not notice now, but your life will eventually reflect every small, honest decision you made in silence. Final reminder. Ask yourself, who am I when nobody is looking? Do I still do what I said I would do, or do I betray myself because I think it doesn't matter? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is the signal that growth is needed. Push yourself to stay honest, even in solitude, because the only person you cannot escape, the only witness that never leaves, is you. When you know you can trust yourself in private, you walk through life with unshakable confidence. You stop seeking validation. You stop fearing exposure. You lie free. I'm strong and dependable. That is the power of honesty. When no one is watching, that is the foundation of true self-reliance. Remember, this applause fades. Validation changes. But integrity lasts forever. And the moment you master private honesty, you'll realize you are someone you can depend on always. The greatest enemy of progress isn't always failure. It's comfort. Comfort whispers, "You've done enough for today. You deserve a break. Tomorrow will be a better time to continue." Comfort feels safe, warm, and inviting, but comfort has destroyed more dreams than failure ever could. Why? Because comfort convinces people to stop before the results appear. It tempts them to quit before they've built momentum. It seduces them into trading long-term greatness for short-term relief. If you want to depend on yourself, you must master the art of staying consistent even when comfort tempts you to quit early. Consistency versus motivation. Motivation is exciting, but it's temporary. It's like a spark. It can light a fire, but it can't keep it burning. Consistency is the fuel that keeps the fire alive long after motivation fades. Anyone can start strong, but only those who are consistent finish strong. Think about how many projects, goals, and dreams you started with enthusiasm but abandoned halfway. At first, you felt unstoppable, but the moment progress slowed, boredom crept in, or comfort whispered in your ear, you quit. And quitting early doesn't just rob you of results, it weakens your identity. Each time you stop before finishing, you reinforce the belief that you can't trust yourself. But each time you stay consistent, even when it's uncomfortable, you strengthen your self-respect. The lie of comfort. Comfort disguises itself as kindness. It says you're protecting yourself from burnout. You've already worked harder than most. You deserve to stop. Sometimes rest is necessary. But let's be honest, most of the time, rest is just an excuse. The difference is clear. Rest is intentional recovery after consistent effort. Quitting is abandoning the work before it's complete because it feels hard. If you give in to comfort too soon, you're not practicing self-care, you're practicing self-sabotage. Why consistency wins life doesn't reward intensity. It rewards consistency. It's not the person who works out furiously for 1 week and quits that gets fit. It's the one who shows up 3 times a week for years. It's not the person who reads 10 books in a weekend that grows wise. It's the one who reads daily for years. It's not the person who works 14-hour days for a month that builds wealth. It's the one who consistently invests effort, discipline, and persistence over decades. Consistency compounds. The results may look invisible in the beginning, but over time, they grow into something undeniable. Practical tools for consistency. So how do you stay consistent when comfort tempts you to quit? 1, anchor to your vision. Write down the reason you started. When you feel like quitting, remind yourself why this matters. A strong why kills weak excuses. 2, create a system, not a mood. Don't depend on feelings. Feelings are unreliable. Set non-negotiable rules, wake-up times, schedules, habits. Discipline makes consistency automatic. 3, embrace boredom. Repetition feels boring, but that's where transformation happens. The gym, the books, the savings account, they all look boring at first, but boredom is proof you're building something real. 4, celebrate small wins. Progress may not be dramatic at first. Learn to take pride in showing up. Each day you keep the promise to yourself, you've already won the price of quitting early. Ask yourself this: how many times have I been inches away from a breakthrough but quit too soon? Think of the miner who digs and stops just before striking gold. The entrepreneur who quits right before the business takes off. The person who diets for 2 weeks but quits before the body transforms. The tragedy of quitting early is that you never know how close you were. And comfort doesn't tell you the truth. Comfort tells you that quitting now is harmless, but the regret that follows will whisper in your ear for years. What if I had just kept going? The identity shift consistency is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become. Each time you push through when comfort tempts you, if you strengthen the belief I am disciplined, I am someone who finishes. Each time you give in, you reinforce the belief I can't be trusted to follow through. Which identity do you want to live with? Because every choice builds your identity. Every day you are casting a vote for the type of person you are becoming. The long-term payoff. One day, when the results of your consistency finally show, you'll realize that the pain of pushing through discomfort was temporary, but the strength it built lasts forever. Comfort gives relief in the moment. Consistency gives freedom for life. So the next time you feel like quitting, remind yourself, comfort now or results later. You cannot have both. Remember, success doesn't come to the smartest, or the luckiest, or even the most talented. It comes to those who refuse to quit early, those who show up again and again, long after comfort told them to stop. Stay consistent. Push through the boredom. Ignore the whisper of comfort. And watch as your steady discipline builds a life of strength, independence, and unstoppable progress. One of the hardest but most liberating lessons you'll ever learn is this: if you build your life around the approval of others, you will never truly live your own life. From childhood, we are conditioned to seek approval. Parents, teachers, peers, A smile when we do something right, disapproval when we don't. But if you carry that same need into adulthood, it becomes a prison, a silent chain that controls your choices, keeps you small, and robs you of independence, the trap of approval. Too many people delay their dreams because they're waiting for someone to approve. They hold back their true ambitions because they're afraid of judgment. They play small because they don't want to look foolish in the eyes of others. But here's the truth. If you wait for everyone to agree with your path, you will be waiting forever. There will always be doubters. There will always be critics. There will always be voices telling you your dream is too big, too unrealistic, too different. The question is, will you live by their fears or by your vision, the price of approval? Approval feels good in the moment, but it comes with a high cost. Each time you adjust your life just to avoid disapproval, you hand over control of your future. Think about how many people went to school for a degree they never wanted, stayed in jobs they hated, or lived lifestyles that drained them all because they wanted approval. They wanted to be accepted. They wanted to avoid conflict. Years later, they look back with regret. They realize they traded authenticity for comfort, freedom for acceptance, and regret is a price far heavier than criticism. The power of choosing your path. Choosing your own path does not mean ignoring wisdom or being arrogant. It means taking responsibility. It means listening, learning, weighing advice, but making the final call yourself. Because here's the truth, if things go wrong, you are the one who has to live with the consequences, not them. And if things go right, you are the one who earns the growth, the wisdom, and the victory. When you choose your own path, you gain something priceless, self-respect. You stop asking, what will they think, and start asking, will I respect myself if I choose this? That single shift changes everything. Criticism is inevitable. You cannot escape criticism. If you succeed, people will criticize. If you fail, people will criticize. If you play it safe, people will still criticize. So why not be criticized for living a life you actually want? The truth is, most people who criticize you are simply projecting their own limitations. They doubt themselves, so they doubt you. They are afraid of risk, so they call you foolish for taking it. But their fear is not your destiny. If you depend on their approval, you inherit their limitations. If you choose your own path, you inherit freedom. Building strength against disapproval. How do you break free from the need for constant approval? 1, start small. Make minor decisions without asking for validation. What to wear? What to eat? What to read? Prove to yourself that your judgment is enough. 2, build clarity. If you don't know who you are and what you want, you will always bend to other people's opinions. Write down your values, your goals, your vision. Let them become your compass. 3, expect criticism. Don't be surprised by it. Prepare for it. When it comes, remind yourself, this is proof I'm living authentically, not performing. 4, take responsibility. Stop blaming others for your choices. If you made the call, own the outcome. That ownership builds resilience and strength. The loneliness of authenticity. There will be times when walking your own path feels lonely. Friends might not understand. Family may disapprove. Society may doubt you. But here's the paradox. that loneliness is temporary, because when you live authentically, you begin to attract the right people, those who respect your independence, those who are drawn to your courage, those who admire your clarity. But you will never meet them if you keep pretending to be someone you're not. The real freedom does not come from being liked by everyone. Freedom comes from knowing you stayed true to yourself. Even when people disapproved, when you choose your path, you stop being tossed around by opinions. You stop fearing rejection. You stop needing applause. Instead, you live with peace, the peace of knowing that you are walking your truth. Approval is temporary, but authenticity is forever. Remember this, you don't need permission to live your life. You don't need approval to chase your dream. The only approval that truly matters is the one you give yourself. Once you understand this, once you dare to choose your own path, you become unstoppable, because no rejection, no doubt, and no criticism can ever take away the freedom of living authentically. One of the greatest challenges in life is this: to keep going when no one notices you, when no one encourages you, when no one claps. At first, it feels easy to move forward when people cheer you on. Their praise feels like fuel. Their recognition feels like proof. But what happens when the applause fades? What happens when no one congratulates you? What happens when your effort is invisible? That's when most people stop. They confuse silence with failure. They think if nobody sees their progress, it doesn't matter. And so they quit. But if you want to depend on yourself, if you want to build a life of real independence, you must learn to keep moving forward even when nobody claps. Why silence feels heavy. Humans are wired to crave recognition. From childhood, we look for approval: teachers, parents, peers. It feels good to be told, "Well done." But that craving can become a trap, because life doesn't give applause for every step. Nobody claps when you choose to eat healthy for one day. Nobody notices when you save a few dollars. Nobody celebrates when you study alone at midnight. Yet those small, unseen choices are the foundation of success. Silence feels heavy because it makes you wonder, does this even matter? The answer is yes, it matters more than anything. The silent stage of growth. Every great achievement has a silent stage. Seeds grow underground before breaking the surface. Muscles build in the quiet of repetition. Skills develop in hours of practice that no one sees. The world only claps at the harvest. But the harvest exists because of seasons of unseen discipline. If you give up in the silent stage because no one claps, you never reach the reward. That is why so many dreams die. Not from lack of talent, but from impatience with silence. Detach effort from recognition. If your consistency depends on recognition, you're fragile. The moment people stop noticing, you stop moving. But if your consistency depends on your vision, your discipline, your self-respect, you become unstoppable, because you are no longer fueled by applause. You are fueled by purpose, and purpose is stronger than praise. Progress without applause. Think about this. Nobody claps for the first 10 workouts, but the results show up months later. Nobody claps for the first $100 saved, but the wealth shows up years later. Nobody claps for the first page written, but the book gets finished because you kept writing. Progress is invisible before it becomes undeniable. If you quit because no one clapped early, you never give your progress time to show. Practical ways to keep going in silence. 1. Celebrate yourself at the end of each day. Acknowledge your own progress. Write down what you completed. Let your inner applause replace external applause. 2. Set private goals. Not everything needs to be shared. Some of the most powerful goals are the ones you keep to yourself. The satisfaction of hitting them is enough. 3. Focus on process, not praise. Learn to love the discipline itself. Love the workout. Not the compliments. Love the saving. Not the approval. Love the study. Not the recognition. 4. Visualize the harvest. Remind yourself applause may be delayed, but results are inevitable if you stay the course. The strength of self-respect. Each time you keep going without applause, you build self-respect. You prove to yourself, I don't need anyone else to validate me. I am enough. That inner respect is unshakable. People who depend on claps are fragile. They shine only when others notice them. But those who depend on self-respect, they shine regardless of attention. Silence is not failure. Never mistake silence for failure. Silence is part of the process. Just because no one sees your effort doesn't mean it's meaningless. Parents raising children, workers building, students learning, most of life's greatest contributions happen without applause. Yet they matter profoundly. Your work, your discipline, your effort, they matter. Even if nobody notices, the breakthrough will come. Here's the truth. The day you stop expecting recognition for your effort is the day you accelerate. Because you stop wasting energy on disappointment. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop chasing validation. Instead, you put all your energy into the work itself. And eventually, the results will be so undeniable that people cannot ignore them. By then, applause may come, but you won't even need it, because you already know your worth. Remember, this applause is temporary. Silence is temporary. But progress is permanent. Keep moving forward. Not because others notice, but because you promised yourself you would. That is how you build resilience. That is how you build independence. That is how you build a life of strength that no silence can break. Struggle is not optional, it's guaranteed. Every person, no matter how wealthy, talented, or privileged, will face seasons of pain, financial setbacks, broken relationships, health challenges, betrayal, uncertainty, loneliness. You cannot choose whether you will face struggle, but you can choose what you will lean on to survive it. Most people lean on feelings, hoping that motivation, inspiration, or confidence will show up at the right time, but feelings are fragile. They change with the weather. If you depend on feelings, you will collapse under pressure. If you depend on discipline, you will endure. The nature of struggle. When life gets hard, your emotions usually betray you. You feel tired, discouraged, doubtful, fearful. If you wait for the right feeling to act, you won't act at all. That's why discipline matters. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. It's choosing commitment over comfort. It's following through when every emotion is screaming for you to stop. Think of a soldier in battle. He doesn't wait until he feels like fighting. His training, his discipline, carries him through. That's how he survives. Life is the same. You win your battles not because you felt strong, but because you acted disciplined. Why discipline outlasts emotion? Motivation is like adrenaline. It gives a quick rush, but it fades fast. Discipline is like muscle. It grows slowly, but it lasts. When you build discipline, you create a foundation that doesn't crumble when storms arrive. You may feel fear, but discipline gets you out of bed. You may feel exhausted, but discipline keeps you working. You may feel hopeless, but discipline forces you to take one more step. That one more step, repeated enough times, is what turns breakdowns into breakthroughs. Struggle reveals your training. Every hardship asks you the same question. What have you been practicing? If you've been practicing excuses, you'll fall back on excuses. If you've been practicing procrastination, you'll lean on procrastination. If you've been practicing discipline, you'll instinctively lean on discipline. That's why discipline isn't just a habit. It's survival training. You don't wait until the storm comes to start building discipline. You build it daily, in small commitments. So when the storm hits, your foundation is ready. Discipline turns pain into growth. Here's the truth. Most people never understand. Struggle isn't your enemy. Struggle is your teacher, but only if you keep moving through it. If you give up, the pain is wasted. If you endure, the pain becomes progress. Discipline makes sure you don't quit before the lesson is learned. Think about the gym. Muscles don't grow because you felt strong. They grow because you repeated the work even when it hurt. Struggle in life works the same way. The resistance shapes you. If you stay long enough under the weight, practical ways to lean on discipline. 1. Daily promises. Keep small commitments. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you started. Follow your schedule. Each promise kept builds a wall of discipline to lean on later. 2. Detach from mood. Don't ask, do I feel like it? Ask, did I commit to it? Discipline acts regardless of emotion. 3. Anchor to your vision. When the struggle feels endless, go back to your why. Purpose fuels discipline. 4. Accept the discomfort. Stop expecting discipline to feel good. It won't, but it will give you freedom, the freedom to not be a prisoner of feelings. The reward of discipline in struggle. Discipline doesn't erase struggle, it transforms it. Instead of breaking you, the struggle builds you. Instead of leaving you weaker, it leaves you stronger. Discipline guarantees that even if you fail forward with lessons that make you wiser and more resilient. That's why people who master discipline are fearless. They don't need an easy path because they trust themselves to survive a hard one. Your challenge. Ask yourself, what do I rely on when life gets hard, my emotions or my discipline? If the answer is emotions, you already know. The result, inconsistency, hesitation, collapse. But if you train yourself to rely on discipline, a struggle will no longer scare you. You'll know, no matter what comes, I will keep moving. That certainty is power. That certainty is freedom. Remember, these struggles are temporary, but the strength you gain from discipline is forever. When life tests you, and it will, don't lean on feelings, don't lean on motivation, lean on discipline, because discipline will never abandon you. That is how you endure. That is how you overcome. That is how you learn to truly depend on yourself. At the end of the day, talk is cheap. Promises are easy. Motivation is everywhere. But none of these change your life. Result do. Too many people waste years talking about what they're going to do, dreaming about success, and convincing others of their potential. They tell stories. They share plans. But they never stay consistent long enough to produce proof. The truth is simple. If you want to depend on yourself, you must prove your worth not through words, but through undeniable results. Results create self-respect. When you achieve something through your own discipline and persistence, it changes how you see yourself. You don't need applause. You don't need approval. You don't even need permission. The evidence speaks louder than anything you could say. The money saved, the weight lost, the skill mastered, the habit kept, that is proof. That proof builds self-respect, and self-respect builds unshakable confidence. You can't fake results. You either have them or you don't. Why most people never see results? Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they quit too soon. They expect results in days, not months. They want recognition before progress has had a chance to appear. So they get discouraged, tell themselves it's not working, and stop. But here's the truth. Results take time. The time between starting and seeing progress is called the desert of discipline. That's where most people give up. But if you stay long enough in that desert, you eventually reach the oasis. The danger of empty promises. Each time you tell yourself you'll do something but fail to follow through, you weaken your identity. Your mind learns that your words mean nothing. But each time you follow through and see results, even small ones, you strengthen your identity. You teach yourself, I can be trusted. I keep my promises. I create outcomes. That belief is priceless. Because once you know you can depend on yourself, you stop needing validation from others. Practical ways to prove your worth. 1. Set measurable goals. Vague goals create vague results. Define exactly what you want, how much, by when, and how often. 2. Track progress. Write it down. Record it. Review it. Numbers don't lie. If you said you'd save $1,000 and you saved it, that's proof. 3. Stack small wins. Big results are built from small ones. Each page written, each workout completed, each disciplined choice is evidence. 4. Stay patient. Don't expect immediate transformation. Results compound over time, not overnight. The silence of effort, the noise of results. In the beginning, no one claps, no one notices. But when results show, they become undeniable. People may doubt your words, but they cannot deny your evidence. They may argue with your vision, but they cannot argue with your transformation. And more importantly, you no longer need them to, because you already know. The confidence of evidence, confidence built on feelings, is fragile. Confidence built on results is unshakable. When you can point to what you've achieved and say, I did that, no criticism can shake you. No doubt can stop you. No failure can erase the fact that you've proven your strength before, and you can do it again. Your challenge. Ask yourself, what results will I create to prove my worth to myself? Stop talking. Stop waiting. Stop promising. Choose one area of your life and create undeniable proof. Build evidence that your effort matters. Because until you prove it, it's just theory. Once you prove it, it becomes reality. Remember this, results are the language of self-respect. Words fade, opinions change, but results remain. If you want to depend on yourself, stop searching for validation and start creating proof. That proof will speak louder than any speech, any excuse, any opinion. Prove your worth, build your evidence, and live with the unshakable confidence of someone who knows their value, not because they said it, but because they showed it. And so, we've come full circle from learning to act without waiting, to trusting your own judgment, to standing tall when no one defends you, to doing the hard work in silence, to proving your worth with undeniable results. This journey has one message at its core: no one is coming to save you. The one who must save you is you. The day you stop waiting for permission, approval, or applause is the day your real life begins. That's the day you step into your strength, your discipline, your independence. Because here's the truth: the world doesn't reward excuses. It rewards results, and those results come only when you decide once and for all to depend on yourself. So let me ask you, will you keep waiting for someone to push you? Or will you push yourself? Will you keep searching for approval? Or will you start living your truth? Will you keep relying on applause? Or will you find strength in discipline? The choice is always in your hands. Remember, this self-dependence is freedom. Freedom from fear. Freedom from hesitation. Freedom from the chains of other people's opinions. And once you taste that freedom, you will never want to go back. If this message lit a fire inside you, then don't just nod your head, act. Start today. Take one step, no matter how small, that proves to yourself that you can be trusted. And if you're ready to keep walking this journey of strength, discipline, and success with us, make sure to subscribe